Alright guys, Red here. Welcome to Red's Resort. In this show we take a look at what's been happening around the verse, whether that be social media, Reddit, YouTube, etc. And then we'll take a wee look at what's coming from official sources to give you a weekly Star Citizen summary. This week I'd like to announce the channel's first giveaway. Nothing too crazy in terms of real world value, but as the channel grows hopefully we'll be able to do these more regularly. This week I thought we could give away this Novikov Ascension kit. Probably one of my favourite armours that's been released in recent memory. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment below of what is your favourite armour in the verse. I'll draw the winner in next week's show. Right, so as usual, let's head over to Reddit to see what those degenerates have been up to this week. So this guy Tom Beckhauser, who is a Twitch and YouTube content creator, posted this small clip on Reddit. Turns out Tom is also a racing driver, and somehow managed to get the Kruger Intergalactic logo on his racing car. And I mean, I'm just so jealous from so many different angles right now. First off, bro, you're a racing driver? That's absolutely crazy. I mean, those cars are pretty much spaceships already. And second of all, that logo on there looks absolutely clean as hell. Honestly, imagine just getting to ride around like this in real life. I am so green, bro. Anyway, Tom has a lot of really cool funny shorts over on YouTube and TikTok. I personally love them, and I would be severely remiss if I didn't give them a little shout out here. Dude is just laid back, having fun in the verse, and it shines through in all of his content. 07 and all the best luck in your endeavours, Tom. Next up was this one, and it caught me out for a good while. Had me thinking the project really had maybe been going for that long. Could this be real? A jump point VHS? But obviously, when I ran the numbers, I think we were at least in the DVD era when the Kickstarter began. So in reality, this is just an absolutely masterful creation. And I mean, look at it. Look at the details and the aging and stuff. Even the fonts and everything. It's absolutely spot on. You know what, it's been pretty fascinating doing this little series. The things this community are constantly coming up with never fails to impress me. And the variety in the way they express their love for this game seems to be endless, honestly. From racing car decals, to old VHS tapes, to Lego builds and 3D printed handguns. It's honestly an absolutely fascinating game to be involved in, and I'm really glad to be doing this small little thing to capture and present it in some way. Anyway, this was made by .com Robots. It's definitely right up there with some of the coolest Star Citizen creations I've seen so far. Kent Design Art is back on the show this week with another fascinating creation. This is a Star Citizen board game that they've been working on, and from what I can gather, it's still very much a work in progress, but the intention is to provide a bunch of files that anybody can download, and then just 3D print and print all these pieces yourself. So all the figures and cards and board pieces etc. could possibly be made at home. Pretty genius idea, to be honest, and I hope they go through with this. I mean, there is the initial investment of a 3D printer, of course. But I mean, nothing a very motivated Star Citizen might not be able to talk their partner into, given enough time. But well done, Kent. You've done it again, dude. If you could not appear on this show for quite a few weeks now, then, you know, I won't be accused of favouritism. The Pugless posted this next set of pics, which shows ships getting dirty. This might have been in the game for ages for all I know, but this is the first time I've ever really seen this shown. Obviously, it just adds another layer of realism and depth to the game. I don't know why, but the thought of your ship advancing through different stages of wear and tear has always really appealed to me. If you're out in the black for ages and your ship starts to tell a story about where you've been and the scrapes you've gotten into, it definitely brings that little bit more character. Maybe CIG will eventually separate the act of repairing and repainting, and we can have functional but busted looking ships with custom faded paint jobs. And I mean, you can look at this cutter, right? And where is the first place that comes to mind? Obviously when there's more systems, it'll be harder to tell, but you know that guy's been on Daymar just by looking at that ship, right? Such a cool touch from CIG. Sup Noobs started an excellent discussion about the new reputation changes coming to the game in 3.23. This would basically mean that you can align yourself with criminal or lawful factions, and that would have consequences for your gameplay. It could mean that all the security would be hostile to you if you were aligned with Ninetales, say. But that would also mean that you'd have free reign at bunkers, and could go in there and loot up as you see fit, without any repercussions. Maybe CIG will add dedicated traders to the game that will only be accessible to certain factions. There was a lot of back and forward in this chat about the pros and cons of piracy obviously, although to me this should definitely be an interesting and positive addition to the game. Big hype from me on this one. And I get the feeling this is going to be one of those changes that, is going to quite disrupt how we normally play the game in a lot of ways that we're probably not aware of yet. Hopefully anyway. We'll see. A user named difficultmode4298 put up a post titled, "I had my first Star Citizen moment." And honestly, it got me right in the feels, this one. So, he's a brand new player, and he was playing during the free fly, and it looks like he was doing one of the retrieval op missions. And he had cleared the area with his rifle, no problem. But they called in reinforcements, he said. You've got no idea how fucked I felt when their ship blew mine up. I knew there was only one way. I opened up their cargo bay and gunned down 4 enemies. I thought that was all of them. So I started looting the bodies. Suddenly, the ship took off, and I had to run up to the pilot seat and kill him before he went into QT. The whole thing felt so epic as I flew back to my home base to sell all the loot from the enemies. This might seem normal for some of you who play a lot, but this felt so unique to me. Thanks for listening to me swoon over this game. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I often think to myself how good it would be to have my memory completely wiped off this game, to just be playing it for the first time once more. And I think this post captures that wonder perfectly. And I mean, you can remember, right? It's pretty easy to forget when you're steeped in it day to day, and it just becomes run of the mill. I mean, you're still stopping for those screenshots and stuff, you're still getting taken aback now and then, but man, back when around every corner was a new surprise. You find Twitch down some back alley, and when some dude named Eckhart asks you if you can do him the small favour of blowing up an Idris. When you're running about on foot and someone strafes the ground with gunfire from ship cannons. Or just simpler stuff like you reach orbit for the first time and realise you can pop the side door and still see the city you left behind on the ground. The little things, that make the magic. I don't know what my point is here. I don't think I even have one, really. It was just good to get things reframed from a new player's perspective, because they're right, it's actually coming together, this game. It's actually becoming what we always kind of hoped it would be. And I've heard a few players say now recently, one of the best things they've done is meet up with brand new players to help them out, and been absolutely blown away by how awesome it is to see the game through their eyes for the first time. Plus you get the bonus peace of mind for just helping out the Bambies. So it's a pretty good suggestion, I'd say. Anyway, that's enough of that gooey nostalgic stuff. Let's talk about something more dangerous and threatening, like the Perseus. This user Sal uploaded these isometric views of the Perseus, but these aren't just any old photos, they are in fact extremely high resolution upscaled images showing the interior layers of the ship, and you can really get in there and into a lot of the fine details in each room. Super cool stuff if you're like me and can just drool over this stuff for hours. And the Perseus is up there for me, right behind the Arastra in fact. Those are my top 2 most anticipated. Thank you very much for this, Sal, it's absolutely legendary, dude. Over on Twitter, Echo had this clip taken from the new Gravlev racetrack. It's called Now This Is Pod Racing, and pretty impressively shows off these new Arena Commander modes. It seems with each patch, the racing in this game just gets better and better. I was personally on the PTV racetrack recently, and I couldn't believe how good the controls were now for the buggy. It used to be almost impossible to drive. Now it's nice and smooth and responsive. The new Gravlev tweaks look to be enabling a lot more fun as well. I've definitely seen a lot of people blowing up on this Gravlev track, so there's definitely still a lot of skill involved, but as you can see in Echo's video, once you get the hang of things, this looks absolutely insane. Anyway, for more racing tips and Star Citizen, head over to echobits Twitch channel, where you could definitely pick up lots of advice all the way from beginner to advanced. Next up, we're over to YouTube, where Infinite Space has a guide for you guys on how to obtain the legendary Citadel armour. And obviously, this is a Ninetales armour, so it should be crime stat free as well. You get this by taking a certain mission, I think it spawns around Microtech, and when you land the turrets won't shoot you, so there's that added bonus as well. After that, it's just a case of killing their leader and looting the body. It's up to you if you want to complete the mission. I'll leave all the extra details for Infinite Space to explain, but he's made it into an easy to follow tutorial over on his channel, and as usual, all the links will be below. Next up, we have a vid from the creators of the outstanding Life of a Stuntman video, the ever imaginative For Science. I absolutely love these guys, and the stuff I see them getting up to absolutely blows my mind, honestly. They seem to be just an endless wellspring of creativity and ideas to me. This time, they've set up some ground defences around an area, and decide to try and bait some player bounty hunters to come after them. Hilarity ensues, obviously, with a massive side bonus of cool ground-to-air combat. Just a bunch of chill, friendly dudes creating some mischief in the verse for laughs. Definitely worth a watch. Okay, so this next one is definitely a cut above when it comes to the cinematography. The video is titled Love, Death and Double Dogs, and features the channel's popular protagonist Scooter. He's out just trying to get some basics in, when things take increasingly preposterous tangents. If you've never seen a Wicked Wookie video before, the production quality is just through the roof. Just look at these shots. Such a lovely atmosphere to this video, and it's got the usual humour underpinning the whole thing. Definitely a must watch, and definitely check out the whole channel. There's tons of stuff over there to keep you entertained for hours. But this one video in particular caught my attention because it opens up with this insane bomb running cinematic in the A1, and I was just sat there riveted. Like, it's awesome. Big thank you to Wicked Wookie for letting me show some of this here. Thanks for all your hard work, bro. Okay, so while we're still on the YouTube section of this video, I have a bit of an announcement to make. Remember a few weeks back there was that Top Gear episode by Lens Nation called Top Hanger? Well, I've been in contact with the producer of that show, and he wanted me to come over and do a little spin-off episode called Star in a Reasonably Priced Aurora MR. Now, if you've never seen the original Top Gear show, that's where they would have a guest on the show and they would get in a pretty average car and do a timed lap on a track. So that's what we did. We met up in the verse and had a great day just messing around, recording footage, done a little interview, and then done this hot lap. The video should be up now on his channel, I will link it below, and I urge you to check it out. The work that the Lens Nation guys are putting out is such an original injection into the Star Citizen content sphere, and I can't believe I got to be part of it. Thanks guys for having me, it was crazy to see how much work goes into these productions, and I really learned a lot of new tricks. Eternal gratitude, dude. Right, screenshot showcase next. First one is from Masmon on Twitter. This is the 600i with that jazzy new red festival paint. The lighting on this is just exceptional, dude, honestly. Such a sweet shot. This one is called Idris Bound for Daymar Sunset by Gromington. Got everything framed just spectacularly here. Such lovely sunsets on Daymar, I find. Well done, Gromington. Stunning shot, dude. The last one this week is Lamont Undersuit and Obsidian Odyssey by Irmdal. Pretty stark and impactful, this one. Some nice post-process work here, and all of these shots would look freaking amazing on your desktops. So follow the links if that's your jam. Okay, so just got a quick bunch of bits and bobs that I've picked up from official sources throughout the week. You know the drill, I'll be mostly just blasting through these just in case you didn't already know. Links below for further reading. Evocati patch notes will no longer be under NDA, meaning everyone will now be able to read them instead of having to look for the leaks. Not that I would do that, of course. What kind of miscreant do you take me for? On EPTU, the distortion damage has been completely removed for all items apart from power plants and dashboards, and shields will have distortion resistance in the range of 75 to 95%. This is a temporary measure until they figure out how distortion damage should penetrate hulls. As it stands, distortion was pretty problematic in PvP. In the Squadron 42 monthly report, we found out that the character creator was getting a few upgrades, mainly that you will be able to save your character creations and also share them as well. Great news on that. On Star Citizen Live we learned that we will be able to turn off the F indicators for the new interaction system, but not the description. So it will still say store or use or whatever, but maybe down the road we can disable all of the elements. How do we refuel EVA equipment? If you're in atmosphere, it refuels automatically because it's compressed nitrogen. In vacuum, you can use injector pens. Weight won't affect fuel usage, but maybe down the road when the armour capabilities come online, possibly. Looting corpses can be done by clicking a take all option, but it will work in groups like consumables, throwables, ammo, etc. Definitely faster, but not everything in one click. And this will be on the new looting screen. You can hold boxes while in the new EVA mode, but probably not in the crawling mode where you're attached to the surface, and you will no longer be able to stand upright like we do now. The cockpit interface will not be like the other items when working with the new interaction mode. You will still need to hold a button to bring up the prompts basically. Whether or not this means that the tuning of the positions for each button and the MFDs will all have been reworked wasn't clear, and I definitely don't think we're getting individual animations and stuff for each button press. So, bit disappointing, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be a monumental amount of work for a lot of teams, so it will come further down the road. Simple knife slashes and fist jabs will still be possible, but no takedowns. Not for 3.23 at least. In fact, the whole thing turned into a big list that we are not getting for 3.23 to be honest. But we did learn that when your EVA fuel does run out, you can start to use your breathable air as thrust. Desperate measures indeed, but a really nice little touch. This week's sneak peek was what people think might be the kiosk for reclaiming your lost pledge gear in 3.23. A long awaited feature. We're not sure how this will work, but I'm guessing there will be a penalty of some sort, in-game credits or time perhaps between claims. 3.23 is definitely shaping up to be a very interesting patch for this game. And that's all the news for this week. If you find anything that you think might be of interest, please let me know. Anywhere really, across any social media or here. I'd like to say a big thank you to my channel members, Nils Gerdes and Spacecraft. If you know anyone thinking about getting into Star Citizen, please use one of the codes on screen for some extra credits in game. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next week. 07 guys.